Last thing to just talk about really quickly has to do with the degree of straightness of angles and how they're classified with regard to that. Once again, you guys should all be pretty familiar with these. But if we take a straight line and we drop another straight line down onto that cuts that angle into two equal angles. And the line that we drop down to form two equal angles is called a perpendicular. Okay. So if this perpendicular will cut a straight line into two equal angles. When you use markings to indicate equality, you'll usually use tick marks. Any elements that are labeled with tick marks that are the same are considered to be equal. So these two angles are each equal. And when you drop a perpendicular to a line, those equal angles have what measure? Again, we're all familiar with 90 degrees. And in the historical times, they didn't use measurement. So instead of 90 degrees, they just referred to this as a right angle. Okay, so these are two right angles. A perpendicular is an element that forms two right angles with another element. A perpendicular can be used as either a noun or an adjective. Okay, so you could say that these two lines are perpendicular if you're using the adjective. It just means you're forming 90 degrees or a right angle. Okay, so if something is perpendicular to something else, that means it forms a 90-degree angle with that. You could also use this as a noun. The perpendicular actually talks about the element that forms the two right angles. Okay, so that green line there, or that green line segment, is a perpendicular as the noun. Okay. So angles are classified with respect to this initial classification. So either angles are right angles, they're less than right angles. So if you have a right angle right here, any angle that's less than a right angle is classified as an acute angle. Okay, so they're less than 90 degrees or less than a right angle as far as their rotation is concerned. You can have angles that are exactly right angles. Again, that would be this example. Right angles are usually indicated by a squared off box in the corner. You can have angles that extend beyond a right angle, but not past a straight line. These are called obtuse angles. Okay, and obtuse angles are more than 90 degrees. Okay, but they're going to be limited. An obtuse angle has to fall within 0 to 90 or to 180 degrees. Okay, this full rotation from here to here is referred to as a straight angle. Okay, a straight angle is simply an angle that's formed by two rays that share a common endpoint and together form a straight line, or can be superimposed on a straight line. There's a couple other types of angles just to be aware of. We're not going to deal with them too much here. But if you take this initial side of your angle and you rotate it all the way back onto itself so that the initial and terminal side are the exact same ray, then you have what's called a full angle. And what rotation would a full angle be? 360 degrees. And so again, a straight angle is 180, a right angle 90. And then the last thing, just again to be aware of with respect to the angles that we will pretty much be limited to are acute, right, and obtuse. So any angle that you draw can be classified in one of those forms, except for a straight angle. So if we just use acute, right, obtuse, and straight, if we wanted this angle, but we wanted to refer to the degree of rotation on the back side of that, okay, so not in the interior but in the exterior of the angle, then that's generally referred to as a reflex angle. Again, we're not going to really talk much about that, but the reflex angle is just the degree of rotation in the exterior of an angle.